here I am waiting for the Vancouver Canucks to go out there and play against the Boston Bruins at 4 p.m. PST Thursday, and we have ourselves an update in regards to the biggest Bruins and Canucks related story from last week. No, it's not the fact that both of these teams are at the top of the NHL. No, it's not the fact that this slobber knocker of a game later tonight may as well be a Stanley Cup final preview if you wanted to go that far. But we have ourselves an update on the Thatcher Demko hug snub situation from last week's NHL All-Star festivities. Now, we did, acknowledge that this happened. We made our videos about the All-Star event and the competition. We mostly talked about Kucherov, though. We did, however, acknowledge that there was this moment where Jeremy Swayman, Boston Bruins goaltender who is noted for giving a big amount of hugs to Linus Ullmark, went out there and gave hugs to some of the other goalies, like there's Jake Ottinger. There was, Connor Hellebuck, I'm pretty sure, as well. Igor Shesterkin, yeah, there were a bunch of hugs given out to the other goaltenders at the All-Star competition, but Thatcher Demko did not bite. There was a hug offered to him. Demko is just kind of walking away. You can see his eyes. He's not even looking at Swayman. Swayman kind of stares him down a little bit. He's still smiling. He's a lovable dude. Jeremy Swayman, on top of being one of the best goalies in the NHL this season, has just had a teddy bear-like personality. He is so cool. But Thatcher Demko did not indulge in this moment. And it's okay, because the next goalie to do so was Igor Shesterkin. You could see smiles all around, but there were a big amount of Bruins fans that went out there and started to feel ticked off that this happened. Oh, Thatcher Demko, you just earned yourself a spot on the list, baby. If you're a Chris Jericho fan, AEW, WWE, or whatever, you know where that's from, but that's kind of the sentiment that we saw. Bruins fans had Thatcher Demko on their nerves, even though Demko is a guy from Boston himself. Not from Boston, he's from San Diego, but he was from BC. Good amount of camaraderie there between Demko and the Boston area. But this was a very, very interesting moment, and a lot of Canucks fans were saying things like, yeah, that's right. Good on Thatcher Demko. Don't go out there and indulge a Boston Bruin. We still don't feel good about those guys around these parts. And while Thatcher Demko was not a part of the Vancouver Canucks fandom in 2011 when the team lost to the Bruins in the Stanley Cup Finals, there still were many fans going out there and poking fun at this entire thing. Bruins fans were upset. Canucks fans were kinda snarkily agreeing that this was the right thing to do, but we do have ourselves an update as to the entire Demko and Swayman situation, courtesy of Jeremy Swayman himself. Take a look at this. NHL Bruins goaltender Jeremy Swayman just told reporters this morning that Canucks goalie Thatcher Demko apologized for the hug slight at the All-Star game and offered him a hug this morning. And then the number one reply, he did it so Bruins fans can stop crying about it. You could tell just where exactly Buck Foston's perspective is coming from over here. Buck Foston, by the way, very nice Twitter account. They make some good tweets about stuff. But this seems to be the sentiment here, that Thatcher Demko apologized, and he offered Swayman his, makeup hug earlier this morning. And Daniel Wagner goes out there and says this: the whole thing was silly to begin with. Demko didn't intentionally slight Swayman, but the last thing the Canucks want is to give the Bruins any bulletin board material. So hug it out and move on. We gotta be clear. This ain't a rivalry here, folks. This ain't Tim Thomas, Roberto Luongo Part 2. This ain't the two best goaltenders on Boston and Vancouver going out there in the media wars like we had seen 13 years ago. That entire pumping the tires thing was very crazy. And honestly, for me as an 11-year-old kid at the time, I didn't realize the magnitude as to how crazy that entire thing was up until, reviewing the footage and re-listening to the interviews and seeing what was going on. But Demko Swayman, this ain't Thomas Luongo Part 2, baby. It's just a very unfortunate moment where Demko literally did not see what was going on in front of him. Now, there are a few other things that I wanted to talk about as well, because when it comes to the entire thing, there was the video posted, Jeremy Swayman on the missed hug scene around the world. Demko came up to me the next day and was like, Sway, I'm so sorry about that. He just didn't see, I guess. I was laughing. It was totally cool. There's still love. He's a good guy. We had a good chat. And the video where this is included is a really good one. I mean, Swayman's got a good attitude. He's been a really nice, bubbly guy the entire time. So just seeing this out of him, you know, it's not too surprising. And then, of course, going over the statistical profiles of both of these guys, Demko has a .920 save percentage this year, which is nuts. Like, honestly, the past few games, he's let in a few stinkers, so the fact that his save percentage is still this high, it does kind of surprise me. But at the same time, I mean, he's got 5 shutouts on the year. He has been pretty much the Vancouver Canucks rock this season. 36 games played, 27-8-1 record. That's insane. Meanwhile, for Jeremy Swayman, at 25 years old, he is also doing pretty well. .922 save percentage and a .236 goals against in 28 games played. 3 shutouts and a 16-4-7 record. So both Demko and Swayman have been just elite this season. It's not even close. Goaltending in the NHL seems to have taken a dip, considering that league average is roughly around 900%, but for all these goalies over here, I mean, Hellebuyck, Swayman, THATCHER DEMKO all in the top 8 of save percentages, and if you wanted to go even further down, I mean, there are still some other guys that are doing well too, but this group of guys, just totally elite. Adin Hill, with his .938, is blowing my mind. 188 goals against average as well. That is insane. And then if you go over to shutouts, I mean, THATCHER DEMKO is second behind Tristan Jarry, who just cannot seem to stop getting shutouts. That guy's doing pretty good things with the Pittsburgh Penguins as well. But there you go, eh? Demko and Swayman right up there at the top of the NHL for all of these statistical categories. It's just very interesting, though, that the Demko Huggate came on as strongly as it did in the social media world, because Boston fans were pissed off, Canucks fans were snarky about it, and guess what? With this Demko-Swayman thing being resolved, we have ourselves one more thing that I think has to be resolved as well. Here's what Welcome to the Kuzmenk Show went out there and said on Twitter. Now that Bruins fans seem to have forgiven THATCHER DEMKO, it's time to forgive JT Miller. Here he is talking about why he picked Swayman in the 1v1. As you can see, no disrespect was intended. He was going to pick Talbot before someone else picked him. And included is a video talking about why Miller went with the decision he did at the breakaway competition. If you all remember, the fact that Miller said on the microphone, yeah, Swayman is the only guy I've scored on a breakaway against, that kind of rubbed some other Bruins fans' feathers the wrong way. Like, they were pissed off. Hey, Miller, why are you disrespecting Swayman? Hey, Demko, why are you disrespecting Swayman? But Miller's post-event interview kind of just goes out there in a really lighthearted way and says, yeah, like, Jeremy Swayman is literally the only guy amongst those goalies that I've scored a breakaway against, so I'm going to pick him. And Miller even says, I was going to pick Cam Talbot because we were teammates before, we were called up at the same time in New York, but then somebody else picked him, so I wasn't able to do that. So for Jeremy Swayman, I mean, he's getting kind of the back and forth treatment from the Demkos and the Millers. A lot of Canucks fans seem to have been on board at the beginning because, you know, it's always nice to taunt a Bruin, but hey, this is your consolation over here. Boston fans, get off of our players' backs because it didn't really mean anything. It was not too harmful in the grand scheme of things. JT Miller saying, yeah, no, I only really picked Swayman because I've scored against him before. Demko saying, no, I literally didn't see the guy. So I guess that's our update, right? We'll see what happens later on tonight when these two teams and these players face off against each other for realsies. But for now, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about THATCHER DEMKO snubbing Jeremy Swayman, the JT Miller comments about how he picked Swayman at the breakaway challenge, Swayman's response to everything, as well as the crazy seasons that both of these guys have been having this year. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.